And we are now live, Chairman.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to call this meeting of the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustments to order here on Wednesday, December the 14th at 7 o'clock. The minutes of our previous meeting held on October 12th have been circulated for adoption. Are there any errors or omissions from members of the committee? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Moved by Member Rao, seconded by Member Fanton. All in favor? That is carried. See, we do have a quorum tonight because of the inauguration of the new council. Our one member, Deputy Mayor Burton, is no longer on the committee or no longer present. I'm not sure how that worked, but it's no longer present, but we do have quorum for tonight's agenda. Does any member of committee have any pecuniary interest to disclose with respect to the one application that we have this evening? There are none. Our first app, so as we begin this meeting, I would like to recognize the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and the caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Teonatani, the Wendat, and is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understanding and new relationships and ask for guidance in all we do. Our first application tonight is consent file 22B11, property located at 1996 Concession 6, owned by the Morfitt family. Christine, if you could please read the notice, provide us with any correspondence as well as the staff recommendation.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 1996 Concession 6 North and 7181 3334 Side Road, formerly Nottawasaga. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever one surplus farm dwelling lot from the subject lands. Proposed severed lot, 30 meters of frontage on Concession 6 Nottawasaga, overall 0.6 hectares, 1.5 acres with dwelling. Retained parcel, approximately 530 meters of frontage on Concession 6 Nottawasaga, overall 78.7 hectares, 194.5 acres, vacant land. We did receive comments from Bell Canada having no comment or concern with the application. We also received a comment from Enbridge Gas that they do not object to the proposed application. However, they reserve the right to amend their development conditions. And it is the responsibility of the applicant to verify the existing gas servicing does not encroach on more than one property when subdividing or severing an existing land parcel. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B11 pertaining to lands at 1996 Concession 6 North and 7181 3334 Side Road, formerly in Nottawasaga, subject to the following conditions. One, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. Two, that the applicant provides a description of the land, which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. Three, that the retained parcel, vacant farmland, is conveyed into the same name as the current farmer farming corporation, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. Four, that any mortgage on the severed land parcel with the existing house be discharged and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. Five, that the applicant successfully apply to the Township of Clearview to amend the Township of Clearview official plan to allow for a farm consolidation on the subject lands where the lands to be consolidated are not adjacent or across the road from another farm property owned by the farmer. The site-specific official plan amendment would permit a surplus farmhouse to be severed on the subject lands as a result of a farm consolidation with lands not contiguous with the subject lands. And six, that the applicant successfully apply to the County of Simcoe to amend the Township of Clearview official plan to allow for a farm consolidation on the subject lands where the lands to be consolidated are not adjacent or across the road from another farm property owned by the farmer. The site-specific official plan amendment would permit a surplus farmhouse to be severed on the subject lands as a result of a farm consolidation with lands not contiguous with the subject lands. And 7, that the applicant successfully apply to the municipality to amend the zoning bylaw on the subject lands to allow for a farm consolidation on the subject lands where the lands to be consolidated are not adjacent or across the road from another property owned by the farmer. The retained lands will be zoned to not permit any further residential uses. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Christine. I see that Stephen is available, as well as his agent, Christine Loft. Christine has prepared a presentation for this statutory public meeting. Christine Loft.
Good evening. I do have a short PowerPoint. Christine, will you present, or do you want me to?
I'm happy to do it for you if you need to, Christine.
Okay, thank you. So it's coming up. So the property it does have 2 addresses, but the lands have merged. The property is 1996 concession 6 and 7181 33 34 side road. And next slide. And so the property is, thank you. So the property, the lands are merged on title. The lot area is 79 hectares with a lot frontage of 560 meters on concession 6 and 1,145 on 3334 side road. The lands are agricultural. There is a small portion of woodlands that is associated with a water course that traverses the property. There is an existing residence on the property, which is proposed to be severed, and the surrounding lands are primarily agricultural, with the airport located to the east. Next slide. So this is the actual consent sketch. So the proposed severance is 0.6 hectares in lot area with 30 meters of lot frontage. You will see that the severed portion is a bit flag light, which was just to ensure that we minimized severing any agricultural land. So we just took the 30-meter frontage and followed the existing laneway back to the house. And the proposed retained property is 78.4 hectares with continued frontage on both roads. On the next slide. So Christine had spoken about the OPA and the ZBA. So those were applied for, and council did adopt the OPA 2283, and the zoning bylaw 2284 has been passed. And the appeal period on the zoning, I believe, is December 1st, and the appeals were received and filed. Well, I'm assuming, Christine, that the file has been forwarded to the county. I know that we did provide the fee to the county upon their request, so I'm assuming that the package has been forwarded to the county. So we are waiting on county approval on the OPA, but local council has approved, adopted the OPA and approved the implementing zoning bylaw. And just the last slide is just a conclusion slide that, in my opinion, the proposal is good planning. We have had an opportunity to review the conditions and in my opinion, standard conditions, and we have no questions or concerns on those. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Members of committee, does anyone have any questions either of Ms. Loft or of Rosalind Workman, who prepared the report? Dave.
Just for my own information, we had a case, I'm going to say about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, might have been longer. It was a round evening. I think the client's name was Oster, and by accident. Now, this was in a situation where the property was contiguous. I think by accident, the 2 properties got linked. The little 1 acre that actually fronts onto County Road 42 and the farmland. in that case, what brought it before us was he had to get a consent to re-separate the properties. So my question is fairly straightforward. For the farm consolidation, if Stephen were to decide that he wants to sell one of those parcels of land that is not contiguous, he would not need a consent to separate that from the other pieces that are non-contiguous. Is that correct?
Rosalind, do you have an opinion on that?
Sorry. Yeah, so just so I understand, are you talking about the fact that the property at 1996 and 7181 have merged?
No, Rosalind, I've got no problem with the consent as we've got it written up. What I'm saying is we're talking about a farm consolidation, and we're talking about 3 non-contiguous parcels.
Correct.
When we do the consolidation, is that considered a single parcel of land? And should Steve ever decide in the future that he wants to sell just this southern chunk that we're dealing with tonight, does he have to get a consent to separate it from the other 2 parcels of land? So is a consolidation similar to like a merge, which happened to the Oster case?
Right. So good question, and I think I understand now. And technically, this will be a standalone piece, and there is no way that we can physically connect them. To your point, it isn't like the Oster case in that he's not going to have to ever sever these lands from the other parcels that are to the south of him. They will stand alone. But what we will do is ask that he put it into the same corporation name to technically be in like the farm corporation or however he's got all the other parcels registered. But
Excellent.
to your
Thank
point,
you.
he won't have to sever again because they are, for all intents and purposes, separate parcels.
Okay, so it's really a consolidation kind of in name or title only, not like what happened to the Oster case.
You're correct. Yes.
Thanks, Rosalind.
Thanks.
Chuck or Dan, do you have any comments or questions of the consultant or staff? Seeing none. We have a recommendation. Do we have somebody willing to move the recommendation? Moved by Chuck, seconded by Dave. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor of granting the consent? Be it resolved that the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment hereby approves consent file 22B11 with a property primarily located at 1996 Concession 6 in Clearview, subject to an appeal period from agencies only, as I understand it now, thanks to Bill 23. So good luck, Stephen, and with the OPA at the county. And that is all of our applications for this evening. Is there any new business, Madam Chair or Madam Secretary?
I have none.
All right. Well, on behalf of the Township of Clearview, Dave, we wish you well in your retirement from the committee. This is your final meeting. We thank you for your many years of service to the Committee of Adjustments. We hope this isn't the last that you'll volunteer for Clearview Township. I understand that both Chuck and Dan submitted their names and council approved their appointments to the committee. Maybe they don't know this. Do they know this, Christine?
I'm not sure they've been formally advised yet, Sean, but that's okay.
I hear you might be coming back. So thank you, gentlemen, for these last few years that I've been a part of the committee, coming on midstream of this past term of council. So thank you, and I hope you carry the torch well for us. And of course, to Christine, who keeps the ship going in the proper direction, and to Rosalind and Nick, who are our primary staff involved with consents and minor variances. Thank you very much for your reports, your informed answers, and assisting us in doing the work of the township. The next meeting of the new committee is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, January the 18th in 2023. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Hope you are able to spend some time with your families, and all the best in 2023.
Thank you.
Thank
Sean.
you.
Merry Christmas,
All the best to you
everyone.
all too.
Yes.
I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Dave, on your final meeting, takes the
There
motion.
we are.
All in favor, I take it? Thank you very much.